So I want to talk about the art of receiving and why you may not have any idea of how to receive. I want to talk how important it is to allow people to give to you, to pour into you, to show up for you, and why you feel some type of way. You feel bad, you feel shame, you feel guilty of something when people want to show up for you. Let's go back to childhood trauma. When it was somebody, usually a mama or auntie or grandma, who said something to the effect of, stop begging and make folk hate you, right? That statement has lingered for so long in my life, to the point where myself, as a 40-plus-year-old man, am still finding out that I have a hard time allowing people to show up for me because of that statement, stop begging and make folk hate you, even without asking anyone for anything. Some acts are simply done for you and because of you, because people care about you. And yet, there's a seed of shame. There's a seed of feeling as if you're going to be indebted to them because of that stop begging and make folk hate you. It's the idea that you're tying what people feel when they give to what you feel when you ask. And it's not the same. They should not be connected. But that's what trauma does to you. Trauma will connect something from your past to something in your present that are two, totally unrelated things, and will have you blocking your blessings in the process. I was watching a few podcasts, talking about, how important it is to be able to receive, especially when you need the help, when you need the counseling, when you need the therapy, when you need the loan, when you need that ride, whatever it is, you need somebody to listen to you. Outside of you asking people for help, because that's a whole nother topic, being ashamed to ask, I'm simply talking about when people want to show up for you, when she wants to fold your clothes for you, when she wants to clean your house, when she wants to stop at the store for you. As a man, if you have not been taught how to properly receive without feeling the guilt and shame of feeling like you're going to owe somebody, you're going to be indebted to them, as if they're not winning because they're giving to you, right? We don't think that when people give to us that they winning. We forget what it feels like to give. In that moment of receiving, we forget what it feels like to genuinely give to people and what it feels like on the inside to actually give. And so if in the moment that somebody is giving to you, that you can remember what it feels like to give, you'd likely be more receptive. But for some reason, again, it's the trauma from your childhood. And not only that, it's also the trauma when you coming up. Your first girlfriend, first boyfriend, whatever the situation, your best friend in high school, or whatever the case may be, at some point, whether you asked for help or asked for someone to show up for you or not, at some point, you were led to feel bad about asking. At some point, when somebody did something for you and showed up for you without you even asking, at some point, they came right back around and made you feel guilty about doing those things for you, right? Remember all those that I did for you? Remember how I used to show up for you? Remember how I did it? If they weren't really truly doing it out of the kindness of their hearts, they wouldn't have to remind you of it, right? Unless, of course, you're an ungrateful asshole who need to be reminded, right? That's a whole nother conversation, right? So yeah, if you're the one of the ungratefuls, Absolutely, somebody who shows up for you on a regular basis, or even have shown up for you in bigger ways than what you're probably even worthy of, they'll likely remind you at some point, especially when they feel unappreciated, they'll remind you of the things that they've done, how they've shown up for you, right? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about when you're in a space of receiving from somebody who's genuinely giving to you, right? And those feelings that you have of, I don't want you, I don't want to put you out. Can you really? You might be doing too much. Let me get that, you know? When the whole time they really want to show up for you. The whole time you're robbing them of some excitement. You're robbing them of adrenaline. You're robbing them of, again, what it feels like to genuinely give. We all too often get caught up on the receiving, on the when we giving, because that feels good. And for some of us, I can't speak for everybody, but for some humans, we give to be seen, right? We want, people to know that we give and all that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those people, but there are givers out here that want people to know that they always giving it. They always showing up, this, that, and the other. These people are victims, right? They have ulterior motives. They are, they're showing up for all kinds of things and ways for people to have to owe them or, feel indebted to them. It's this, superiority complex where you're trying to make people feel inferior by way of showing up for them in an aggressive way, to the point where it's like they're indebted to you, or at least you're dealing with the type of person who has the mindset, and they're gonna feel like, man, I owe this person my life, where damn near they can ask you to jump off a bridge for all the shit that they done did for you, and you consider it, right? Not knowing your own worth. But let me not get off subject, even though I'm still tying it all in. We have to get into a space of healing our childhood trauma and also our relationship traumas over the years that keep us in our old adult ages unwilling to receive or unable to receive properly. You're going to ruin some good relationships, right? You're going to hurt some people's feelings not receiving. A woman is going to leave you, bro. She's going to cheat on you because you won't allow her to give to you in certain ways, right? Here you are paying for the maid service because you're like, babe, I don't want you to, I want you to have da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What else is she supposed to do if you're the sole provider, right? And she stays at home. Maybe she's got an online business. Maybe she's an entrepreneur. Maybe she's not. Maybe she has nothing else to do. Now that you've hired this maid service, she's losing a way that she can show up for you in a way that she actually may have liked. But you, with your ego, right, or with your lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, your indecision to ask her, is this something I should be doing? And in understanding that when she answers you, you got to know if she's telling you the truth or not, if she's saying something that you might want to hear. That's simply knowing your wife at that point. But I'd be damned if I wiped the table clean of all the things that a woman could do for me, knowing good and well that what she does and how she shows up for me, it's likely a love language that she needs to express, right? Again, we often get caught up in the doing, right? So when people talk love languages and they say, what's your love language? Acts of service, blah, 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 blah. So now we want to shower them. But no, you didn't ask them if the love language was for giving or was it for receiving. If a person tells you, if a guy tells you, if a woman tells you, look, one of my love languages is physical touch. You've got to ask, you got to go further into that and say, hey, are you talking about one to another, me touched you, you touch me? Or are you talking about me touch you? Or are you talking about only you touch me, right? 3 different versions of one love language. And if you don't ask the right questions, you will have no idea of who you're dealing with. So again, giving the example, somebody tell you one of their love languages, and you can embody them all. It doesn't have to be just one or two, whatever. You can embody them all, and you could create love languages of your own. We're so locked into these small boxes where we think only the love languages that exist are the ones we've heard of. There's so many other love languages, you know, but that's a whole other conversation. But when you get into a space where you're asking somebody, what's one of your love languages? And they say it's physical touch. And you start groping on them and they get turned off from it. You can't get upset that you didn't ask, what kind of physical touch are you talking about? Right? You fucked up at that point. You fucked up at that point, and y'all may not ever get to the bottom of the whole situation because you didn't understand what the answer was. You didn't dig deeper, right? And you were likely full of wanting to please. Again, this is a whole thing of wanting to please people and the art of not knowing how to receive. The art of receiving, but the reality is that we don't know how to receive. So again, without making this video too damn long, I'm over 11 minutes right now. There is work that we all must do in order to reverse the effects of feeling bad for asking for help, right? And also feeling shame when people show up for us in ways that we couldn't show up for ourselves, right? But also allowing people to show up for us in ways that we already know we can. I got that. I'm good. I don't need your help with that. I don't need you to open the door. No, let him open the door. That makes him feel good. I don't need you to hold my hand while we're walking down the street. I don't need you to put me on the inside of the sidewalk to protect me from the street. I got good reflexes. I ain't trying to hear her say that. I want you to get your ass on the inside, hold my hand, so in case a car jump the curb, I'm going to jump in front of the car, I'm going to push you, ooh, it's going to be this thing, and I got it in my mind, because that's what dudes do. We be playing all these masculine stories since we were a kid to be some kind of superhero to the woman, right? That's something he wants every time he opens a door for you. It's the idea that the door is a heavy door. It's a dirty door, right? It's a task that you may not even want to be doing, because why? You're a woman and you're feminine. And the way we look at you when we admire you is that you're this floating entity, right? That don't touch the ground, and we damn near don't want to see you walk on, you know. That's why we lift you up over puddles, or we carry you on our back when it's time to walk through a puddle, because one of our innate instincts is to protect you, right? But we know you can protect yourself. So when a man is talking about protecting you in a certain way, showing up for protection and security in a certain way, he ain't trying to hear the fact that you got your CC, you know, your concealed carry, and that you've been shooting for 10 years. It's great that you can, but don't ever tell that man that because you know how to shoot, I'm good, I don't need no man. He's not about to be spending no time. He's not about to waste his time with you. And if he is, it ain't gonna be for long, because he's gonna run out of ways he can show up for you naturally. So as a man, his masculine energy will not be able to be expressed. Did I say that right? It will not be able to be expressed, right, properly, if you are not allowing this man to shield you from hurt, harm, and danger anytime he can. You know, if he asks you to check in, make sure you let me know when you get home or when you get to the gig, or, you know, let me know your in-betweens. Not because we're insecure that you talking to Joe Blow and them. It's the fact that motherfuckers is crazy out here, right? At any given moment, the dude who's like, hey, man, you know, times is hard, you know, my baby mama tripping. I was wondering if you got anything on you, if you got anything that you can spare. At any given moment, that could be a setup for her. And she's out there in her woman ways and her feminine, not thinking that this is the setup. And now she's being taken advantage of. We worry about stuff like that concerning women, you know? And if you don't allow us to worry about you like that, if you don't allow us to care for you, if you don't allow us to grab that thing that's way high up, you know, don't go grab the stool all the time, right? Sometimes we want you to go grab the stool so you can help yourself. We don't want you to be helpless, but we don't want you to grab the stool all the time to grab that thing that's high up on the cabinet or on the shelf. Sometimes we want you to exercise the fact that we might be 6 feet plus. And it's like, hey, daddy, can you come reach this for me? I can't get it. I got you, babe. You know, in that moment, I get to flex on the fact that, you know, God made me a tall guy, whatever. It could be anything. Babe, can you come lift this for me? The whole time, I don't want you to be helpless. You should be lifting that shit yourself. Honestly, it's good physical fitness, but not all the time. Sometimes, let me carry it. Let me go get that. Don't bring it from the car. What's in the car, babe? You went shopping? What's it? Yeah, everything in the car. I got it. You know, I got it. So again, let's learn these spaces, men and women alike. Let's learn the spaces. Women, learn the spaces in which men want to show up for you and let them do that. Understand that you got to know the man that you're dealing with, though. Don't let him do shit for you if you know he's only trying to make deposits to try to pull something from you. We're talking about people who actually genuinely want to give and do for you. You have to discern that. You got to discern whether that's that person or not. And then upon discerning if that's that person, you have to make sure that you don't ruin that relationship by not allowing yourself to receive, right? Same thing with men. Men, if you know there's a woman who's trying to show up for you in those feminine ways, real life, y'all, in those feminine ways, don't make it easy for her, right? If you know that she's paying attention enough to see that you need some things and she's willing to show up for you in those ways, don't take advantage of her. Let her know exactly where she can show up, where it helps, and where it makes you feel uncomfortable, if that's a thing, right? Negotiate it, but let that woman show up for you. Let her show up for you, because otherwise, how else is she going to be able to express how she really feels about you? You can't always wait for the bedroom. It's not always about passion and sex. It's not always about the romance and intimacy. It's not always about that in determining how much a person really feels for you and cares about you, you know? So without further ado, let me get up off of here. Look, this is DTMA TV. On this channel, I am always right. So please, don't take my advice.